Welcome back to the channel today, guys, and man, I gotta say, we had a pretty fun episode of Oshi no Ko today. There were a couple instances where I was laughing my ass off at the episode because we had some really funny moments. But another thing that I think a lot of people will be happy with starting from this episode on is we're gonna focus on Ruby's group now. Because I've seen throughout the course of the show people saying the exact same thing. That, oh, I thought Ruby and Aqua were both kind of the main characters of the show. Why hasn't Ruby gotten any time? And now Ruby is going to get her time to shine. And Kana, honestly, too. So I hope you all are looking forward to that because I certainly am. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it and talk about Oshi no Ko episode 9 today, as we dive headfirst into what being a new idol is about. You know it's going to be a good episode, guys, when the episode begins with Mayako just completely done with Aqua's shenanigans, as we see that he's brought Memcho to the agency to join B-Komachi. As she says, so your YouTube channel has 370,000 subscribers. Yeah, I wish I did. And on TikTok, you have 638,000 followers. You seem quite popular online. Understatement. As Memcho tells her, I currently work with an agency called Farm, but I'm not directly signed with them. Or rather, we're just business partners. Under my agreement with them, it's no problem for me to freely take on jobs. As Mayako says, so in this case then, Strawberry Productions would be commissioning your services for the idol industry. Basically, they'd be renting her, guys, in a way. As Mayako says, you know, that feels like a very timely offer. But that look on your face makes me feel like you want to get something off your chest. As Mayako figures it out and says, your age. You're misrepresenting it, right? As we see that Memcho is actually really surprised that Mayako is able to figure it out. As Mayako tells her, yeah, your bone structure makes you look young, but you can't fool a fellow woman when it comes to age. As she actually asks Memcho what her real age is. But upon her telling her this, Micah starts freaking out a bit like, that's a big lie right there. As it's revealed that instead of 18 like she claimed to be, Memcho is 25. Guys, she is way older than everyone else here. Besides Mayako, of course. As Aqua tells her, sure, you're 25 and you went on a show claiming to be a high schooler, huh? That's mental toughness gone too far. But it's here as we get into the nitty-gritty of her situation. We realize that she has a pretty good reason for lying about her age. As she says, I've always wanted to be an idol, but I had a single mother and 2 younger brothers, and I thought it'd be best if I went out and got a job. But it's here as we see her mother told her to not worry about that and to go and follow your dreams. She says, after she told me that, I started to apply for auditions. And I even made it to the final screening at a major agency. But in my 3rd year of high school, my mom overworked herself and ended up in the hospital. My family needed money, so I temporarily withdrew from school and worked various part-time jobs. That enabled me to send my younger brothers to college, and our mom got better too. But I had turned 23 by that point. And it's here Memcho starts explaining the really harsh realities that you have to face while being an idol. As she says, in this world, they start treating you like an old lady when you reach 20. All the auditions stipulate they only accept girls who are no older than 20. And when I was finally in a position to pursue my dream, I was no longer of the age where it was possible. As she says, with that path closed, I channeled my passion into streaming. And it went over better than expected. I gained a crazy number of subscribers. But at that point, my lie was too deep and I couldn't get back out. As Memcho says, who am I kidding? As if a 25-year-old could ever be an idol. But it's here in this moment, we just hear, "That's not true," as Ruby makes her appearance. As we see that Kana, who is with her, can also empathize with Memcho, as she says one of the saddest things I think I've ever heard. As she says, "Once I reached 5th grade or so, my child actor agency gave me the axe." Yo, you're in 5th grade now? You gotta get the hell out of here. That's so goofy. And it's here Ruby tells Mayako that, age has nothing to do with being an idol. Because after all, there's no stopping someone's longing. Which is very true. As she extends her hand to Memcho and says, "Welcome to B-Komachi." Which she happily accepts. And even our boy Aqua cracks a little bit of a grin. And just like that, we have the beginning of the new B-Komachi. And as we transition to our next scene, we get Ruby's perspective on how things have been going for them recently. As she says, "Love Now actually drew a lot of attention. And it likely ended up as a big show in terms of how it'll impact my brother's future. And it had a pretty sizable effect on B-Komachi as well. With the addition of Memcho, we were able to make videos for our channel that really look the part. As we see that they're starting to get their name out there more and more, slowly but surely." As Ruby says, "Man, it kind of feels like we're official now." As Memcho says, "We still haven't uploaded much besides our self-intro video, though. I'd like us to post a music video sooner rather than later." As Mem asks, "How are we doing on the music front?" And this scene right here is gonna break some hearts, guys, but it's the cold truth of the music industry. As Kana says, "It looks like the president asked some artists she knows for help." Meaning that most of your favorite artists, guys, do not write their own music. Shocking, I know, but that's the cold truth of it. And as Kana tells them all, "Let's just sit and wait until the music's done," Mem says, "Not a chance. Have you forgotten that we are B-Komachi? And B-Komachi has all the B-Komachi songs, right?" As she says, "Starting now, we're gonna do as much as we can. If we dilly-dally, I'll be 30-ish before I know it." As Mem says, "It's time to start the first duty of idols. It is the pride of idols and yet also the most exhausting aspect. The choreographing of dances, which begins now, baby." And it's here as we transition to our next scene. We see all three of them working their butts off to try to memorize the original choreography from B-Komachi so they can perform some of their older songs for right now until they come up with their new ones. And they're working hard. But as we transition to Kana after their practice, she is done. She is wiped out, saying, "I can't match the motivation of those two idol otaku." And it's here while thinking about it, she actually asks herself, why'd I ever agree to be an idol in the first place? This is exhausting. As we see our boy Aqua come over and tell her, "Good work out there." But it's here in this moment that we see that Kana is still very upset about what happened with Akane, as she flat out just rejects Aqua and has been avoiding him. As he tells her, "You've been acting like this towards me all the time lately. I know you have a foul mouth and an attitude, but even I'll feel hurt if you keep it up." As Kana thinks to herself, "You started it." And when she actually does try to call out to Aqua, we see that this man is gone. As we see that Kana is really going through it right now. But it's here, as we transition to our next scene, it's time for us to get our answers, as Aqua goes to the meeting with the producer to get answers about I. As he tells Aqua, "What I'm about to tell you is like digging up the grave of the deceased, so to speak. Why exactly is it you want to know about I so badly?" As Aqua tells her, "I'm a fan of hers. Hopelessly so. Is that not reason enough?" But the producer tells him something really real right here, as he tells him flat out, the illusions held by fans are shattered once they come to know the real person. There is not a single exception to this. As Aqua tells him, even so, I want to know. And as he says, okay, and starts explaining to him, he says, as I said before, I had a close connection to Ai, and I sent a lot of jobs her way. At the time, she was a country bumpkin, fresh out of the sticks. She lacked professionalism, didn't even try to become friendly with those around her, and would show up for work wearing clothes she got on the cheap that did not suit her. She was that kind of girl. So, I thought about what might help her, and I introduced her to a workshop hosted by a certain theater company. It's called La La Lai, the same theater company that Akane belongs to. What a small world, huh, guys? As he adds to Aqua, they say that love changes people, and it must have been there that I fell in love. After she started attending the workshop, she began taking more care with her appearance, and she started asking me about nice places to eat. I didn't know exactly who the guy was, but I do remember how she suddenly had the face of a grown woman. As he tells Aqua, if you're interested, I'll introduce you to the leader of Lulalai. There, I suspect you'd come closer to the answers you seek. And gee, guys, I wonder what kind of arc we're going to have in the future for our show. I wonder! Look forward to it. But it's here. Aqua asks a really good question. As he says, why would you do all that for me? As he gets told flat out, because I sense the potential in you. And it's here he starts explaining to Aqua how the industry handles things and just how, honestly, predatorial it can be. As he tells him, this industry is a place of creating and calling in obligations. So much money moves around this industry, it makes this 40,000 yen sushi feel like small change. So, if I make you obligated to me now, when you become an in-demand actor who's at his very peak, I'd be bound to gain a big advantage in battles over casting. As he's basically telling Aqua, once you make it big, because I know you will, since I'm scratching your back, you're going to scratch mine, and I'm going to have dibs on you. But it's here he says something interesting, as he says, I can see the potential in Kana Arima and Memcho too. As he tells Aqua, I hear you revived the famed B-Komachi, and I see it as a rather promising target for investment. Basically, he wants to get in their good graces too. What a shrewd guy this producer really is, honestly. As we see that the producer has another idea in store for them. And as we transition back to Ruby and everyone, we see that that idea is the Japan Idol Festival. As Mem tells him, yeah, the producer I worked with on Love Now has a connection. If we're interested, he says he can squeeze us in the lineup. And it's here as we see that Kana's really hesitant to do this. We see that Ruby's all for it. Full guns blazing, baby. Full steam ahead. And it's here we see Mem actually agrees with Ruby as she tells him, I think it would be a waste not to do it. It's a stage that ordinary groups are only able to stand on after years of tireless work. If we don't take this opportunity, what are we even being idols for? True! As we see that after that, Kana does reluctantly agree to do it. But, with that said, it's time to come up with the most important thing for an idol group. And that is, who will be B-Komachi's center, their main star? As Kana asks, does it even matter who it really is? As the other two are like, you bet it does, sister. Centers are the stars among idols. A role for a cute girl who can really sing and dance. They're the face of the group. As Kana says, alright then, fine. Who wants the role? And it's here we come upon a problem. You see, it's here we see that, Ruby and Memcho might both kind of want that role, and how I could see that being a bit of a problem. Just a little bit, guys. And it's here Memcho has an idea. She says, how about whoever gets the highest score at karaoke will be the center? As Ruby tells her, you're on, girl. But as they ask Kana to come with them, she tells them no. And her reason for it, honestly, is a little bit sad. As she tells them, the center is the face of the group, right? So if I'm made the center, our group would never get popular. And I have more than enough evidence to back that up. And it's here as she thinks of Akane again, she adds, besides, it's accommodating cute girls like you two that people take a liking to. Not troublesome, cynical girls like me. Now, I personally hard disagree with that, but I am a guy though, so take that with a grain of salt, I guess. And it is honestly pretty sad to constantly see Kana beat herself up and just downgrade herself in her own eyes. But at the same time, it makes perfect sense because she's been in this industry for her whole life, guys. She knows how unrealistic a lot of the stuff they want to do is. I love how this show takes like the hopeful approach with characters like Ruby, but then has realistic approaches with characters like Kana and Memcho, who have been doing this and know how things are. I really like how they have both of them. But it's time to transition to our karaoke battle, which unfortunately we don't get. But we see they both suck at singing. They are terrible. As Men says, you wanted to compete with a score like that? As Ruby tells her, you may make it look good, but you're terrible too. As we see that B-Komachi might have hit a little snag already, if no one can sing. And it's here they decide, why don't we just take a little bit of a break? As Ruby says, why don't we sing Kana's Bell Pepper song? Which I did not include earlier in the video. I glossed over that scene, but it was pretty damn funny. I'll say that. But it's here as they type Kana's name into the registry, they see that she actually has a lot of songs on there. And it's here when they decide to play one of her videos, we see that the entire tone of the scene dramatically changes. Because it's here as we go into Kana's music video. It's really nothing short than fantastic. The imagery is phenomenal in it. Her singing is really, really good. And just the video itself gives off a vibe of like professionalism and just, it's really shockingly good. To put it bluntly, she absolutely killed it. And as we transition back to the two girls, all they can say is, man, she really is a difficult person, huh? As Ruby says, she really calls herself a bad singer, huh? As we see in the other room, Kana gets a near perfect score in karaoke. And with that, our episode ends. And I really like this episode, guys. We got to see Ruby's side of the story this time as we focused more on B-Komachi and the idol aspect of our show. I think it's been a long time coming, but this show does do a good job, or this series I should say, does do a good job of balancing Aqua's perspective and Ruby's perspective. So we will get plenty more time with Ruby going forward. And I really like how they handled this episode, honestly. I really like how they showed how Kana is just so down on herself. She puts herself down so much, but she's actually so immensely talented. It's kind of wild, actually. And just take a guess who the center of the group is going to be, guys. Just take a wild guess after this episode. Honestly, I can't wait for our next couple episodes because they're going to be really great. So let me know your thoughts on this one down below. I would love to hear them. But until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.